Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a 2011 Cadillac CTS rear brakes. I'm going to try to do a little more explaining on this particular vehicle, not because it's a Cadillac, but because my last video I had some haters and people thought that they were master technicians and all this other stuff. So I want to explain some of the things that I do that I actually don't show you on camera. So let's get rocking. Stop going to garages, stop getting overcharged. All right, now obviously when you take off the tire, the first thing you're gonna do is do an overall inspection of everything. You're gonna look at your speed sensor cable, you're gonna look at your brake cables, make sure they're not dry rotted or broken. You're gonna look at your bushings and your grommets and so forth. And every little nook and cranny that you might find something wrong, a garage will point out just to get your money from you. So if there's people going on my videos and complaining that you should take your vehicles to garages for people that went to school for this, I've been working on cars for 25 years. I am a Ford certified technician. I don't explain a lot of this stuff because it's not needed unless it's something that you point out and that you see, okay? Now, they'll also come across here and they'll say that these bolts need to be torqued to a specific spec, okay? No, they don't need to be torqued to a specific spec. They just need to be tight. Same thing for the mount, brackets, that holds the caliper and everything else. They do not need to be torqued. Now, the next thing you're gonna do, obviously, when you're doing your brakes is you're gonna loosen these. And of course, this is, I'm gonna spin that, so I'm just gonna cheat here and just use this pry bar instead of getting a pair of pliers. And I'm going to take both of these off just so that way, because like I said, I'm going to try to explain things to you that I look at when I'm doing it that, you know, idiots come on my post and start running their mouth thinking that they know more. All right, so now obviously you're going to take this off. Now, you can use a specific tool or you can use your crowbar to compress this caliper, but go nice and slow. Okay, just push nice and slow. Make sure you got the cap off the master cylinder, and then you get it in, and then that's done. You can get that out of the way and you can pull your brakes off. All right, now some brakes, when you buy them at the parts store, is going to have new hardware. Some do not. So before you come on my post telling me that I should be replacing the hardware, save your breath. Nobody cares what you have to say. You're probably just one of them technicians trying to steal money from people. However, this brake set does have new hardware. So we're going to go ahead and install this new hardware because it's accessible and it's here. I always install the hardware when they come with the brakes. If I don't install it, that's because they didn't come with the brakes. So keep your mouths shut, master wannabe technicians. Now we're going to go ahead and be careful not to get any grease on the brake pad. Go ahead and put the brake pad on there. And if you do get a little bit of grease on it, it's not that big of a deal. It will burn off. Another thing, this back in my day was called a rabbit ear. What this does, see if I can get it to do it, is it's supposed to squeal. Of course, I can't get it to do it. It's supposed to make a raggedy noise on the rotor whenever it is low, letting you know that it's low. Now, all the mechanics that's on here running their mouth thinking that they know everything are probably the same mechanics that will break this off. That way when your brakes get low, it'll start rubbing into your rotors and start grinding it away, so that way they have to charge you twice for doing brakes and rotors. Again, if you're on my feed running your mouth, you're probably one of these idiotic overcharging mechanics. So save your breath. You will be banned. Okay? That's all there is for that part. You go ahead and, oh, one last thing. before I get more winders on here, you check these glide pins. Okay, now as you can see, they have a bunch of grease on there. But just to save face and not listen to a bunch of whining again, I'm going to go ahead and put more grease on here. Is that enough for you guys? Put it on there, make sure your rubber is sealed. Put it on there, make sure the rubber gets sealed. See, there's a lip. Let me show that to you too, before I get even more winders for that. There's a little lip thing right here that this rubber thing snaps over. So you want to make sure that that is put in there. Turn it around, move it in and out just to make sure that grease gets evenly distributed. Okay, I don't show you guys everything that I do, even though I do a visual inspection every time I do a vehicle. But it's important you only do what the customer wants you to fix. If you're doing more than what the customer wants you to do, then you're just trying to get more money out of them. Now, it's one thing if you're going to point it out, it's another if you're going to stupidly overcharge for the work. Worked on cars long enough, I can feel how tight something is and know that it's tight enough for the particular job at hand. You do not need torque specifications for that. Once that's done, go ahead and throw our tire back on. And this one has a particular groove. Let me show you that for the whiners out there. This has this particular groove right here. Okay? It's part of the wheel bearing hub assembly. It's got to fit inside of this. Okay? So some mechanics will take a wire brush and go ahead and clean that up. Okay? That's just one of them niceties that they do and everything. But again, it's not required. It will not hurt the functionality of the vehicle. If they tell you otherwise, then that's because they're trying to get more money from you. They're nothing but money grubbers. Get it on there, it's nice and flat. So now, after I get these tightened on here, make sure you put them on there and that they thread on there nice so they don't get cross-threaded. Alright, so now once they're tight, what you normally do is you take the same socket that I just used to put on there. You get a 1/2 inch torque wrench and you set it to the particular specs of this particular vehicle. Now I have not looked it up yet. I'm not going to do it on video, but you use the torque wrench, say if it's 65 pounds. You set it to 65 pounds, put it on here, put the torque wrench on the socket and you twist it until it hits 65. Now with my gun, it's 1,250 foot-pounds of torque. It's on there more than tight enough, so I don't have to worry about torquing this to particular specs. I've never had anybody come back in the past 5 years specifically telling me that they had problems with their lug nuts. So, with that being said, this is the 2011 Cadillac, what is it, CST? Rear brakes. Have a nice day.